Finally, viewers who are gone. Hope you guys are doing well. At least hit the like button for the sake of the whole case. Hit the like button. A long time we are wait. Noel Maitland was recently found guilty. Wait, you still not hit the like button? Okay, let's go all the way back. How do you convict a man for a murder when there is nobody, no public crime scene photo, no confession, and on top of that, it is a police officer? This question sat over Jamaica for nearly 4 years now, and just a few hours ago a jury finally answered it. Police Constable Noel Maitland was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend, Donna-Lee Donaldson, a young woman who disappeared back in 2022 and was never seen again. Nobody was ever recovered, but the court still ruled that she is dead. And of course, they did find some blood trace in Noel Maitland's apartment. So in this one, I'm going to break down a few key details from start to finish, how the whole story began, how the prosecution built a murder case without a body, what the defense tried to argue, and why the jury still returned a guilty verdict. Because this is not just another crime story. This case will be talked about for years, especially in college. Y'all know it go. Noel Maitland was not an ordinary suspect, and he wasn't just any service member of the Jamaica Consular Force either. And y'all know he was also heavily involved in the dancehall community. We're talking about someone who is well trained, know about law procedure and investigation. And this is why it took so long for them to actually, stamp a verdict, even though they did find traces of blood. So Donna-Lee Donaldson was a very young, ambitious social media influencer, young entrepreneur, very visible online to the public. The relationship looked normal, but according to evidence later presented in court, their relationship had issue, argument, tension, control problem that would later become central to the prosecution theory of what happened. Everything changed in July 2022. On the night of July the 11th, Donna-Lee Donaldson was last seen alive. Her last known location was Noel Maitland's apartment at the Chelsea Manor in St. Andrew. After that night, she vanished completely. No calls, no message, no social media activity. 2 days later, July the 13th, her family reported her missing, and almost immediately, investigators focused their attention on Maitland. Not because of rumors, not because of social media speculation, but because every known trail ended with him. The last person she was with was her boyfriend, and the last place she was even seen was his apartment. As the investigation unfolded, police began to believe that Donna-Lee Donaldson never left that apartment alive. Just over 2 weeks later, Noel Maitland was arrested and charged with murder, along with preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. That second charge was important, because from early on, investigators were making it clear that they believed Donna-Lee Donaldson was dead and that her body had been deliberately disposed of. Maitland was denied bail and remanded into custody as the case slowly made its way through the court system, drawing intense public attention along the way. Honestly, a big shout out to you, my viewers, because it is people like you who go out there continuously watch the video, them send them viral comment posts and send the story, all over the world. We all know how the system operates, especially when there's a police officer involved. And I strongly believe that if the public didn't plant their feet and say, listen, you guys need to do something about this, I feel like the case here would have dashed out. So mad respect to everyone. You guys played a key role to this trial. When the trial finally began, the prosecution faced a major challenge. As I said earlier, there was nobody, no murder weapon recovered and presented publicly. But what they did have was a chain of circumstantial evidence, and piece by piece, they argued that this chain told only one story. The prosecution presented forensic evidence showing that blood linked to Donna-Lee Donaldson was found inside Noel Maitland's apartment. They brought phone records into court showing moments, calls, and patterns that supported their timeline of events after her disappearance. They also present testimony that Noel Maitland had arranged for a couch to be removed from his apartment shortly after Donna-Lee Donaldson vanished, which prosecution argued was an attempt to remove evidence. A truck driver testified that he was paid to move her furniture, and the timing raised serious suspicion. But what really sinked Noel Maitland was his behavior after the murder. There's a huge difference when you plan to do something and you can get away easily. But I believe Donna-Lee Donaldson death was either caused from an accident, yes, overhyped tension, maybe I'm always a beater, I don't know. But there's another story. I don't really want to say much, but a lot of people are speculating, and this is alleged information, that is not really Noel Maitland who did the crime, He's actually doing the time. but not him do the crime. Witness told the court that Maitland repeatedly asked his neighbors about CCTV footage in the area, specifically footage that might have captured movements around the time Donna-Lee Donaldson went missing. To the prosecution, this wasn't the behavior of an innocent man. It was the behavior of someone worried about being seen. The prosecution argued that when all these details were viewed together, the blood evidence, the phone data, the removal of furniture, and Maitland's actions after the disappearance, there were only one reasonable conclusion. Donna-Lee Donaldson get dashed away in his apartment and her body was deliberately hidden, probably get removed by one of those furniture or the couch, and them carry it to river and go burn it. And of course, the defense fought back hard. Maitland maintained his innocence. In his oral statement, he told the court that he loved Donna-Lee Donaldson and had no reason to harm her. His attorney argued that the case was built on speculation rather than direct proof. They challenged the forensic evidence, questioned the reliability of witness, and repeatedly reminded the jury that nobody had ever been found, which is a key thing to most cases, because naturally there's a law where if there's nobody, then the case naturally get dashed out. Similar to Vibes Cartel case, but then again, certain substantial evidence, they can hold you with that. Based on how they present the case, it seems like in the beginning, Maitland and his team thought that they were going to get off this case. They argued jurors not to let emotion, public pressure, and media coverage influence their decision. According to the defense, the prosecution had failed to eliminate all reasonable doubt. The trial lasted for months with dozens of witnesses and extensive legal arguments. The judge repeatedly instructed the jury to focus only on the evidence and to apply common sense. Then on January 22nd, 2026, the jury retired to deliberate. After just about 3 hours, they returned to the courtroom. Noel Maitland stood and listened as the verdict was read. Guilty of murder. Guilty of preventing the lawful burial of Donna-Lee Donaldson. Despite the absence of a body, the jury was convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that she was dead and that Maitland was responsible. The reaction in court was heavy. Maitland was visibly emotional. His legal team expressed shock as the verdict indicated that they intended to appeal. And as usual, sentencing has been set for a later date. Maitland now faced the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. For Donna-Lee's family, the verdict brought a measure of justice, even though her body has still never been found. And you don't know from lose someone, especially the pain for the mother, like peace are gone for lifestyle. You know what I mean? And this only a conclude now, say she disappeared, because really and truly should have waited for Noel fate. You know what I mean? For burst out the big tears there. Jaja. This case sends a powerful message still, It shows that Jamaica murder conviction does not require a body if the evidence prove death and responsible beyond reasonable doubt. And like I said, this is a universal language right across the world, but I don't really care about that. It also raises serious questions about trust, power, and accountability, especially when the accused is a police officer. The Noel Maitland case is not just about one man and one victim. It's about how the justice system handles complex circumstantial cases and whether the truth can still come out even when someone tries to erase every trace of it. So kudos to all the police officers, even the one who try for bribe. Big up yourself, brother, because him stand him guard, hold him on. Kudos to the police officers who carry out full investigation. And not because I want to own, we're not going to hide evidence and play a bag of shit. Like, big up on yourself. And as the appeal process loom, one thing is certain, this case is far from forgotten. If you want updates on the appeal, sentencing and other major cases like this, make sure you subscribe and stay lucky. Bless up on yourself, man. Peace.